Hi, it's Carol from Crinkled Path Journals again, and I'm working on my last page in my junk journal that is made from an altered cookbook. There will be a flip through coming up soon, but let's go ahead and do our last page today. And it's a very special page for me because probably one of the highlights of my childhood was being able to visit Disneyland a couple times, and it was a very special treat. I remember going with my parents' best friends and their kids. They were all teenagers. I got some great memorabilia, printed copies from the 1970s, including these vintage tickets from Disneyland. And when you used to go to Disneyland, you had to pick and choose. You would get so many tickets. Here, let me show you. You would get booklets of tickets, so you'd either get 10 tickets or you would get 15 tickets. And you would get 1 A ticket, 1 or 2 B tickets, 2 or 3 C tickets, 3 or 4 D tickets, or 3 or 5 E tickets. And a lot of young people today don't understand when we say, well, was it an e-ticket ride, when you're talking about something exciting in your life, because the e-ticket rides were the things like the Matterhorn bobsleds and the Jungle Cruise. They were the most exciting rides at the time in Disneyland. Oh, my sister and brother would bargain with me. I'll trade you 2 B tickets for an E ticket. And since the B tickets were things like Alice in Wonderland or Swiss Family Treehouse, those were things little kids like to do rather than the roller coaster. But I remember going on the Matterhorn with my dad when there was nothing but the outside frame of the mountain and the tracks inside. You could see the entire roller coaster inside the mountain. And now you go through these tunnels and things and you can't see the track except for directly in front of you. So it's great to have that memory of it being built and early in it being launched at Disneyland as a ride. I also had another memory about this record, and I own the record, and I actually scanned it and made a copy of the record, and the record looks like this. It's colorful and it's printed on both sides, and then it has this also in the package. It comes in like a plastic sleeve, and this is from 1973. My brother actually bought this record in 1973 for $1.59 as a souvenir. And I had a little tiny record player like this, and he was very particular. And when he found out that I had played his record, this was years later, after he, a few years later after he had bought the record, I borrowed it and played it on my inexpensive record player. And he was so upset at me for having played it on, not a full hi-fi sound system, that he was sure it was ruined. And he said, well, you probably ruined it, so you can keep it. I have to tell you, it still works perfectly to this day, and you can still play it. And I love the Electric Parade on Main Street. This was one of my early souvenirs from 1973, was a little Mickey like this, and I don't have him anymore. But just a tip, I love having, real ephemera if I can. But if you don't have it, just do an internet search and look for as high a quality photo as you can. Print it out, cut it out, and if you need a picture to help with your memory, go for it. Print it, put it in your journal. As long as you're not selling the journal or profiting from the use of the journal, then it's fine to get an image and put it in for your own memory's sake. So I'm going to fussy cut this. I'm going to figure out how I want to get my record in here. I did print another copy of some wallpaper from the 70s disco wallpaper kit from Paper Farms on Etsy. I thought the red and the stars looked very Disney to me. And then I also have this scanned 1970s gift bag, and I actually printed it on a vintage gift bag that was just a plain color, but that way it looks really authentic and feels really authentic, and I love that. So here's what I have to work with today. I may not need it all, but I'm gonna try and get this into my book today to finish the last page. And if you've got a story about your own adventures in Disneyland, please share them in the comments below. Or if you had a favorite record or a record player as a child, what did you like to listen to? And what was your favorite souvenir from a big outing or a family trip? I'd love to hear your stories because your stories really matter. And thanks for listening to mine. I enjoy having you come along and be a part of this process of memory keeping, and I hope you're learning things, and I hope you're having fun watching the videos. It's been great to get this book done. So thanks so much again, and please subscribe if you've been enjoying this. Okay, I think I've got it where I like it, and I'm really liking all the little added pieces. I went ahead and pulled these stickers out of a sticker collection book, and that's why they're not sticking very well, because they've already been stuck before. So thank goodness for some glue stick. Get the job done. I'm not sure if I like this here or here better, but I do want it out. I like seeing this through the window, and I kind of wanted him on the front, but he just seemed like he was kind of lost on the page. He needed to sort of be the only focal point. And same thing with these are more recent stickers, probably in the last decade or two, not all the way back to the 70s. And then I had some difficulty with getting my card on here because I didn't want it to cover the window, but I also didn't want it sticking up way high off. So I cut a straight strip and used it as a template to cut the card down so it would still have the same-ish shaped corners. And then I tucked my little tickets in here. And if you didn't follow the process, I punched a hole to get my opening started here, and then cut the opening, and then I used the hole punch to get these ends just decorative. And I used a white strip of paper as a backing so that you wouldn't be able to see through to the yellow paper underneath because there was printing there. And then I glued the top part on and this strip that's behind, and then left the pocket open by just gluing around the edges of the red paper. And then I have these tickets, which I printed from, I'm gonna forget. If I can find it again, it's Americana something, Americana Antiques or something like that. But if you do a Google search for images of or information about Disney tickets, you can find some pretty good resolution prints. And like I said, as long as you're not selling them, it's fine for you to have them. I got these different ones and I thought I would just make one book of them, but then I realized that as I was picking some to print, that they were from different eras. And so I like that this one sort of made a book, because this is how it would come. Of course, this one's missing the e-ticket because that was the most popular one, and you always used all your e-tickets. Now with a pass that gets you basically into everything unless there's a long wait, like for a new ride, where they limit the number who can try and get in each hour. You know, it's mind-boggling to think you could only go on 10 rides or 15 rides. And I think prior to these tickets, they actually sold individual ride tickets, so you had to pay per ride. This is just kind of fun to have these. Of course, there's not many of this type of ephemera left. Saw one going for $500 for a complete book on eBay. And to me, again, I don't have to have the actual thing to have the memory, and so the photos are wonderful. Probably my most favorite ever ride at Disneyland, I think it was in the 80s, not the 70s, but is this America Sings, which was a stage show, but it was all animatronics and the little animals all sang. And they moved those animals all into what is current day Splash Mountain. And so when you go on the Splash Mountain roller coaster, which is like a log ride, and you do get very wet, you get to see the animals. And I swear that you didn't used to get as wet as you do now on that ride. And we tend to go in February. We didn't get to go at all this year, but we try to go every few years with our kids or friends because Disneyland's so iconic, California, and we're big fans. And I'm grateful that we get to do that. But I don't like to go on Splash Mountain anymore. I'm fine with roller coasters, but in February to get soaking wet, even though the weather's generally nice in Southern California in February, you still don't want to walk in soaked shoes. And because we like to really go run, get all the stuff in. We're hardcore riders and fast trackers, and now they have the apps that tell you where the wait times are lowest, and so you can get in line. It's just fun to think back to when I first fell in love with Disneyland, and to think about my little Mickey that I had. And the other souvenir I remember, we didn't go that often when I was a kid, but I remember one trip I had the Mickey, and then it could have been the same trip or maybe it was a different trip. My dad bought me a Donald Duck hat, and it was like a baseball cap, and the bill of the baseball cap was actually Donald's bill, and then his eyeballs were on the top of the hat. And when you squeezed the bill, it quacked. And I think I wore the quacker out in the first day, which my parents were probably more than grateful that I wore it out, because I'm sure it was too much of a good thing, as I would tell my kids. And then I have this paper bag envelope that I made, and I'm down to just 2 outfits. I don't know if, I feel like because this one had these all throughout, that maybe I need to find a place to tuck these in, or make another journal card or something that I can put them on and tuck in somewhere. I'll think about that as I'm doing my final check through the whole book. Before I do the final flip through, hopefully I can get those in somewhere. But this is a nice journaling card. I will probably use up every inch of the space on the back of here. And if I need to make another card, I can, and I have plenty of space to tuck it in here. Like I said, I'm not sure. I don't like it covering those. Anyway, this is where it's going to go for now, and we'll see if it stays there. All right. Thanks so much for coming along for the entirety of this book. It ended up being 19 episodes, plus the flip through. That's an even 20 once they're all posted. And then don't worry, because just this one's done. If you've been enjoying this, there will be more. I have 5 of these books right now, I think. And so I'm planning to continue my memory journaling in these. And then I have some other projects coming up too. So I hope you'll stick around on the channel. I hope you'll subscribe and comment, share your stories with me. And thanks to Hot Threads SD in South Dakota for commenting on the recent video too, and sharing a little bit about yourself. Thank you for coming along. It means the world to me. See you guys later. Bye-bye.